Hey, it's Rob the Realtor, and in today's video we're going to be talking about home equity lines of credit, otherwise known as HELOCs. So what is a HELOC, or home equity line of credit? This is where you own your home, you have equity in your home, and in today's market, because prices have been going up, most people do have a good amount of equity in their home. So you can borrow up to 85% of the current value of your home, less your existing home loan, of course. You can get a decent interest rate on it, so it could be, I've seen them anywhere from like 3% up to 10%, but still much lower than a credit card or other revolving credit lines. So when you do get a home equity line of credit, the origination cost is pretty low. You might have to pay a few $100s to the lender that gives you the home equity line of credit. You may also have to pay for an appraisal, but in most cases it's more like a drive-by appraisal, and it might only be a couple $100s. It might even be free depending on the lender. The other good thing about a HELOC is you only pay on what you use. So let's just say your house is worth $300,000, you owe $200,000, and you get a home equity line of credit for, say, $50,000. You have that in place, but you don't pay anything for that unless you draw on that equity line. So you can write a check for 10 grand to pay off a credit card or whatever it might be. But if you don't use that HELOC, again, you don't have to make any monthly payments on it. It's only if you use it and have a balance on that. And then you just pay on it like you would any other debt, but most likely the interest rate's going to be lower than other debt like credit cards. So why would you get a home equity line of credit? The number one reason we can think about is last March when everything got shut down, the COVID shutdown happened. People lost their jobs, people couldn't work temporarily, people needed money. So if you had a home equity line of credit in place on your house, you can use that to then pay your monthly bills and help support your family during those tough times. You could use it for debt consolidation. So if you have $10,000 on a credit card that you're paying 20% interest on and your home equity line of credit is, say, 5%, you're going to save 15% of interest in that debt. Of course, you don't want to charge that high interest credit card back up again, but it can help you pay off that existing debt that you have. You could use it to make home improvements. So if you've been wanting to remodel your kitchen, put a swimming pool in, put a new deck on the house, put a new roof on the house, you can use that HELOC to do that too. Keep in mind though, you don't always get dollar for dollar for what you put into that house. So if you spend $10,000 on a new roof and you turn around and want to sell that home 6 months later, you might only get an additional $5,000 in that purchase price. So it's not always a good idea to make a bunch of large improvements to a home when you're planning on selling that home. And if you ever want to, just talk to me about what things are better to do for the home to help it sell for more money and quicker. You can use this as a bridge loan. So say, for example, you want to sell your existing home and buy a larger home. In today's market, it doesn't take very long to sell a home. But if you wanted to purchase that second home and then go ahead and sell your home after you purchase that other home, you could use the HELOC to put the down payment down on the new home. And as long as you qualify to cover both mortgages, you can use that HELOC as a bridge loan. You can use the HELOC for other investments. So you might want to put a down payment and buy a rental property or some other kind of real asset. So real assets would be something that's tangible and hopefully something that is going to give you a larger return than the interest rate that you are paying on your HELOC. So a big warning is, with the last global financial crisis in 2008, 2009, a lot of people were doing cash out refis, using home equity lines of credit to buy things like cars, boats, take expensive vacations. And then we all know what happened to real estate prices when that happened. They dropped, and now they don't have any equity left in their home, and they're upside down in their mortgage. So this video is not designed to give you investment advice, but me personally, I wouldn't be taking a HELOC out on my house to buy a new fancy car, take a big vacation, or things like that. But again, these can be very real and very good things to do with that home equity line of credit. And you may not even need it, but it's nice to have it. It's kind of like what people say about guns. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So a HELOC can fall into that category. Now, kind of off topic, but a subject of a future video that I plan on doing is talking about the 10-year Treasury. And if you follow the financial news or you follow things like this, economics in general, the 10-year Treasury is what mortgage loans or mortgage interest rates are tied to. That has shot up 86 basis points, or 0.86, just since September of last year. So in roughly 4 or 5 months, it's gone from 0.66 to 1.52. And as those interest rates go up, mortgage rates are eventually going to catch up too. Mortgage rates, even though the 10-year Treasury's gone up 86 basis points, I think mortgage rates have only gone up about 1/4% thus far, but they are generally tied to the 10-year Treasury. So we could see mortgage rates go up this year in 2021. And as rates go up and the cost of borrowing goes up, things like real estate, stocks, and those things that require borrowing or loans in order to make those purchases is going to put downward pressure on prices. So we always want to keep our eye on the 10-year Treasury, and right now it's going up. Another reason that economists think that it's going up is because there's inflation expectations with all the money that the Fed's been printing. So, there is a cause and effect to all that money printing and inflation in the money supply, but that's a topic for another day. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends if you think that this would be beneficial. Like I said, it's very nice to have this in place, even if you don't ever use it. It's only going to cost you likely less than $1,000, but it can provide help in times of emergencies. It can help you consolidate those high interest debts, make home improvements, buy a new property, buy an investment property, that sort of thing. If you want to talk more about the numbers of should I take equity out of my existing home that I live in, my primary residence, to buy a rental property, we can sit down and talk about those numbers and what those expected returns could be. So again, this is Rob the Realtor, and I will see you again soon in a future video.